And we stay loving and we stay smart.
Pure magic.
We're going to handle all
This guy is in his own little bubble of delusion. It's truly unbelievable.
Has faced in my lifetime with this COVID virus.
He did such a great job. He's killed 12,000 elderly people. He did. 12,000. 35% of the deaths in New York directly attributed to this moron dictatorially demanding that COVID patients be put into nursing homes. I have to tell you, this man has to go to jail for all the things he's done, the malfeasance, the stealing, the thievery. Unbelievable. Now, you're going to listen to him in a minute go on about Trump. And he's going to tell you that Trump has been hostile to New York, that he put a burden of taxes on the New Yorkers and liberal blue states by capping your write-off on real estate at $10,000. What he will not tell you, Andrew Svachim Cuomo Jr., is that New York pays roughly 7 to 10 times what the average state pays in property and school tax. 7 to 10 times. And you check the average tax burden on a home anywhere in the Hudson Valley, Long Island, New York City, compared to any state, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. For a 2,200 square foot high ranch in anywhere in the Hudson Valley, you're going to pay somewhere between $9,000 and $24,000 a year. Long Island, $24,000 for a 1,200 square foot house. Okay? What Trump tried to do was put a ceiling. Okay? He knew that by putting a ceiling of how much you could write off, two things. Number one, you're not getting people in Indiana and Montana and red states to have to subsidize the tax tyranny of the states like New York and California and etc. So the other thing was to embarrass these states into finally having to reconcile what a true burden of taxation it has been. And by allowing people to write off ad infinitum whatever tax increases these degenerates in Albany keep throwing on the backs of people whose paychecks are ever diminishing, by the way. Trump knew that this would totally rip the veil down, the curtain, and expose these villains for what they are. Tax villains. The word villain from the Old English villain, taxer of the village. These scumbags and his duplicitous rat father who said, I'm not going to control the taxation on the property and schools anymore for the public. I'm going to let the local municipalities handle it, knowing that they would just go nuts. And that's what happened. So every local county legislature just had a free-for-all raising the taxes. How did New York State win up in Albany? They tax the windfall on the crooked local municipalities. And that's what happened. And that way Mario could say, I don't know, I'm not raising your taxes. It's your local guys. See? And he could tell everybody through his BS that he wasn't the bad guy. Fast forward 30 some odd years later, and, Mario affirmative action, if you're a white guy, you couldn't get state jobs back in the early 80s unless you were hooked, right? Unless you had a daddy on those jobs, you weren't getting a job. Because, especially you dumb Italians that voted for the Cuomos, didn't you know how white you were? You didn't know? Look at all the black people in America that have Italian surnames. Oh, that's right, there aren't any. I tell black people, you want reparations? Here's where you go. Take out the following names: Washington, Jefferson, Johnson, Adams, Monroe, Jackson, Jefferson, all those guys. Taylor, Tyler, all those names. Roosevelt, those are the guys that owned slaves. Weren't guys named DiGiacomo, right? But Andrew here, to appease his aesthetic, are you telling me that I'm not white? It's exactly what I'm telling you, pal. You got ragu in your blood, not mayonnaise. You ain't white. And the white people know it. And they laugh about it. But you were all too happy to dump that burden on, well, your own. And they're so stupid, they voted for you. Right? So, this is the deal. The crooked tax thugs of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, California, where all the looting is going on in your liberal cities and your liberal states. Okay? With your crooked police unions and your corrupt and crooked teachers unions, you bled the people white. And now you want Trump to bail you out. And because he pretty much told you where to go, you're going to go on the warpath now. Right, Andrew? You spiteful little rat weasel? You know? Like when you talk about Tale of Two Cities? Why don't you talk about how the major on the state police used to chauffeur your daughter from Mount Kisco to Harvard? 235 miles. Right? $185,000 a year. It's not a bad paycheck for being a chauffeur lackey for your corrupt posterior anatomy. You want to talk about your solar panel job? Your crooked cell phone deals? Now, you won't talk about that. How about your Buffalo Billions, where your Lieutenant Governor Hochul married to the Northern Tier DA to cover for you? Mr. Hochul. Right? Because that's not impropriety or malfeasance. That's not RICO, you gangster, you bloody, insufferable criminal.
His base, is he trying to make legitimate criticisms about your stewardship of the state as well as the city?
Well, far be it from me to psychoanalyze the President of the United States. I have a law degree. I have no medical degree.
He's got a law degree, all right. How many times you fail the bar?
It's nothing new for the President. He's not just attacked New York in tweets, his policies.
Right. Well, let's take them on one at a time.
Changed the tax code in a way that increased the taxes in New York and other democratic states. He has failed to do...
He decreased the amount people could write off. He did not increase their taxes. If you were fair, you would have turned around and said, well, you can only write off $10,000. So we're going to have to lower taxes. No, that would never occur to you, you matahule, you mafioso.
Anything positive for New York. He's gone out of his way to be negative to New York.
How so?
Why? You know, is it politics? Who knows?
You know.
It's for someone else to answer. But the negativity.
What's the negativity?
Forget the tweets. You know, who cares?
Oh, we're going to talk about the tweet psychoanalyzer?
What he's done to the people.
I tried to be their friend, but they fought me at every turn. But the strawberries. This is Captain Queeg. This is Captain Queeg. You know what you know? Jail's coming. Malfeasance. Financial fraud. Defrauding the public trust. You're going to jail, Captain Beady Eyes, because it's all going to come out. And you are looking for a $50 to $60 billion windfall to bail out your crooked, corrupt malfeasance? It ain't coming. Santa Claus ain't coming. And Joe Biden, he's going to be long fertilizer before he gets elected president, pal. And all the looting and all the nonsense, you know what that's doing? It's driving the normal people ever farther to the right because it's self-evident. The self-evident truth, complete and replete, that thugs running amok in all your liberal constituents, all your cities, it's all self-evident, pal. This is the election. Chaos, anarchy, thuggery, or law and order. That's it. That's the choice. Law and order, civility versus thuggery, rape, pillage, and plunder. And rape at the tax office. Andrew, your time is up. I predict you'll try to make it back to Naples, right? but I would take your passport away immediately because I know where you're headed.
People of the state that bothers me. What he did with salt, refusing to fund urgent transportation projects that hurt the entire Northeast.
Well, it turned out again he was clairvoyant about that, just like barring traffic coming in from China. Trump was out in front. You know why? You ain't going to need infrastructure, pal. The people are running away from your city. They're running away from your state. Your bleeding population. You'll be down below 17 million soon. Okay? Who's going to go to New York City to work anymore? When Madison Avenue in Lower Manhattan get destroyed by thugging looters and you are incapable of doing anything about it. First of all, it doesn't even matter if there's some companies still left that'll want to go down there and set up shop, which I doubt. But they know that the customers aren't going there anymore. It's why malls are dying. When that lawyer was beat to death by a bunch of thugs in the Short Hills Mall, that was another big nail in the coffin of malls. Now go and look and see what's happening to them. They're going to be turned into old age homes and low rent housing. So Andrew, you've been exposed, pal. It's over. The vampire state is finished.
Like the Hudson Tunnels, stopping the Second Avenue subway. I mean, all these egregious...
Which we won't need. Egregious.
The traveler program.
Right.
The DHS, Department of Homeland Security.
Why? Because you wanted to be a sanctuary and harbor gangsters?
Policy, because they don't like that we won't give them the driver's licenses for undocumented...
No, you want to be a window to third world thugs and Islamo-fascists and M19 or 13, whatever the number is, pouring into your state and abusing the public at large. You are the problem. Your lawlessness, your corruption, your Vatican mentality of bring the rabble to America. That's not what the Statue of Liberty was about. Bring us your tired masses. That was never part of the Statue of Liberty. Never. That was an adjunct. It was an addendum that some poet decided to slap on to the Statue of Liberty. That's not what it represented. The Statue of Liberty meant that we are ruled by law and order, a constitution, you schmuck, and not by the Don Corleones of the world. You know, those wonderful men of honor in the Cosa Nostra that all die face down in there. Zoopity pesh.
People, so they punish us with the Trusted Traveler program. I mean, there's a whole, from day one in his administration.
I would have produced a duplicate key if they had given me time. Captain Quigg.
And then, by the way, the most recent refusal to fund state governments.
Crooked police unions, crooked teacher unions, that have bankrupted the taxpayers.
Good things, helping us with Javits and with the Army Corps of Engineers.
Go see what other state pays their policemen $200,000-300,000 a year, $400,000 to $500,000 retirements, like Officer Purcell out of Clarkstown PD, right? How about the old Westbury chief of police? $715,000 retirement paycheck. Right? Andrew Gumbatz? Some guy in Iowa should pay for that? Some guy in the Carolinas should pay for that? They don't pay their police $35,000, $40,000 a year. They should pay for your cops to retire on $150,000 to $300,000 a year. I don't understand. I don't understand why Trump won't bail me out over here. You know, I got to take care of the unions, so they take care of me. I got to do what I got to do. Right? Like Jimmy Hoffa said, I got to do what I got to do. And, forget about it. You got to pay for it. Right? you know what, cornude? Keep lying. Keep lying.
The additional beds, that was very helpful. And look, I said from day one, I'm not playing politics with the president.
You're not?
When he does the right thing by New York.
Yeah? What did you do? What did you do?
Would like me to say that. It's the truth. When he does a bad thing for New York, I say he did a bad thing. And
how many hospital beds did you create?
I think I was in the White House last week. We had a meeting.
Yeah, you had a meeting, all right. You got spanked.
I'm sorry.
Well, I don't need to hear any more of this nut job. I just want the people to know the truth. This little flaming criminal, you remember that line? Don't vote for the homo, vote for Cuomo? That was him. That's what he said about Ed Koch, who was a decent guy. And he told all the constituents back then, little Andrew, don't go with the homo, vote for Cuomo, right? This miscreant, degenerate, lying thief. So that's the deal. If it wasn't for Trump, he would have had another 100,000 deaths in New York. I need 50,000 ventilators. I need 50,000 ventilators. Right? He whined. He could have bought 16,000. He wouldn't buy them. He was busy subsidizing a crooked gangster in the solar panel business that he was getting kickbacks for. That's what he does. Like the marijuana business that he underwrote for the state of New York. He handpicked the 5 guys who could participate. Hey, because, you want to do business with me, you gotta kick the money up. You gotta pay it forward there, pal. You know what I mean? You gotta be in the club. You gotta be a member. This little thing of ours. Hey, that's what he doesn't talk. Well, Trump knows it. Trump was a builder. He avoided the ilk that is Andrew Cuomo. He avoided that kind of gangster hood stuff. And he was brilliant. How do you think he got so smart? Dancing around these crooks in government and the crooks in the mob, and they're all interconnected. It's total reciprocity, right? That's why they don't want to arrest too many thugs, because they need them. They need them to justify their existence. It is totally reciprocal. So any people wonder, right? He's been exposed by Trump, and he's like a jilted woman. He thought he was going to go down there and do his polenta and meatballs, song and dance, and cajole Trump into saying, yeah, okay, pal, I'll help you out with your $50 billion degenerate debt to your union pensions. You know what Trump told him? You're out of your effing mind. We can't afford this now more than ever. The country can't afford it. And going forward, what would it be, $1 million a year to retire as a teacher and a cop? $28,000 a month is the ceiling right now on Long Island teachers. They can't retire on more than $28,000 a month. All you people in Georgia, Florida, the Carolinas, Louisiana, Missouri, Kansas, think about that. Your teachers make $28,000 to $40,000 a year. These people retire on $28,000 a month. But he wants you people in flyover country, all you dummies in the red state, to pay for their debauched hypocrisy. And all the time condescend and laugh at what schmucks you are. I hope New York State burns in hell.